This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast brought to you by Heritage Auctions, HA.com. They've got the big Keif Fromm collection comic art auction coming up October 17th, 2025 in Dallas. The catalog and all the lots are up right now at HA.com. This is a joint venture from Heritage Comics and Heritage Entertainment. So HA.com, check out the Keif Fromm collection. We'll be talking all about that today on a special Stuff Dreams Are Made Of comic art, I guess, catalog deep dive and also chat. Hi Ryan, how are you?
Hi Dave. I'm all right. I'm dragging myself to the finish here.
The other morning when I reached out to you and realized it was Saturday and you were still doing 6 days a week, I was just like, oh yeah.
So, I just have, as of this recording, I just have to work 12 of the next 13 days, and then I'm done.
Very exciting, though.
Yeah.
When it's so close and yet so far. So 12 of the next 13 days, and then I'm assuming day 14, just the flu, right? Isn't that what usually? Yeah. You just your body just goes, fuck you. Yeah. So,
yeah. And then. The seventh day rested, but because he was forced to.
And on the seventh day,
bacterial infection.
God prevised on the seventh day. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, a pre-congrats. It's very exciting as you limp towards the finish. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be happy when you're done. I mean, I get to see.
Eventually,
I get to see the show, and then we can really record.
Stop hearing about it. And all that.
No, I understand that. I feel your pain. I just want to have more flexibility for recording, so that's really it. I'm very, very, very selfish. It's
looking
really
forward to
nothing,
that.
Nothing to do with anything. I guess a couple of things maybe before we get to what's new in props. I have a what's new in props, but before what's new in props, I did, in case people are interested, I did bid on I ended up bidding in the Guillermo del Toro auction, and I lost. I bid on the lot that the lot that I had most mentioned that I was most interested in was this Mike Mignola storyboard from Blade 2, which I think had been on display at the LACMA exhibit. Was taken with it back then. I was still taken with it when I saw everything. And I threw a nice bid on it of about, I think I threw a 4K bid, which was 5K with the VIG. And I was outbid, and I sort of, put that bid in via the internet and kind of walked away. I didn't want to be tempted to go any higher, but I lost, so I did not get anything from the Guillermo auction. It was, were you watching it all or not so much, or more after
I
the
did
fact?
A little at the beginning, but no, I just wasn't. I was.
Were you ever tempted by like the Giger, or that? I couldn't tell what was the thing that was tempting you maybe the most.
I liked the Giger. It just wasn't.
The image.
That's a major Giger in terms of what the price it was going to demand. But it wasn't the right subject for me. I just really want something from that like mid 70s, early 70s run, the airbrush grayscale. Better if it has, some kind of alien DNA in it, whether it's literally directly linked to the movie, if it's one of those Dune pieces that got him the job on Alien, or just if it's one of those things out of the Necronomicon or whatever that, like, again, got him the job on Alien.
Right.
I just want something from that. It's somewhat specific, but he was so prolific that there should be dozens of pieces that fit that rubric. That's just, when the time comes, I will spend. I just want to be the one, truly one and done. I want to just get the one. The one that I want and turn the page. And it seems like major Giger has been coming up, once every year to 18 months recently. So.
I was going to say, if nothing else, maybe it got a very healthy price, the Guillermo piece. So if nothing,
the Guillermo thing helped.
Right. So I did think to myself, like, well, if this is not the one, maybe this helps eke the one out of someone's collection.
Someone decides to.
It's a good. Yeah, it was a good number, and people might definitely go, "Oh, look at the numbers. Time to sell." You never know.
Sure.
It was an interesting auction. I will tell you something sort of funny. It felt like a prop store auction, which I'm sure right now Heritage is pulling their sponsorship on this
They're
auction.
not listening.
on this auction, I guess, because of the Guillermo stuff, they definitely had more reserves than your typical,
Yes.
I guess, heritage auction that is more used to, I think, letting it fly a little bit. And as such, there were some high reserves, and some of those were not, some of those were not met. They basically not met. They just didn't go sold. They were, the opening bid was high enough that people weren't interested. Now, obviously, things can sell after the fact. So, for example, at least as of when I looked yesterday, Big Baby hadn't sold. It did not meet its opening bid of 50,000. But who knows? Maybe it has sold. All it can sell. Yes, but it was interesting to me just to see. It was definitely more aggressive opening bids, a la like a prop store, and therefore it looked like more unsold items and a lot more,
and maybe less action.
Yes, a lot more of like one and done bidding. There were certain pieces that were the exception. The Giger definitely had a lot of action on it, but things like the Frankenstein plate, which was so incredible, I believe the 200,000 opening bid, which had already been hit before the auction started, I don't believe it ever got another bid. The other Frankenstein plate at 100,000 opening bid didn't get a bid, and at least had not sold when I last looked at it. Again, perhaps it sells after the fact. So that was sort of interesting to see a little bit of the shoe on the other foot. I do wonder. Without knowing, and I guess we'll ask them when we talk to them, will that change anything vis-a-vis the second and third auctions? Will they change it up? Will they try lower? Or is this just sort of, these are numbers, or at least where Guillermo felt comfortable? I don't, again, we don't know the answers. Clearly it was slightly different than usual. Again, nothing terrible, but, definitely things like, opening bid was going to be $4,000 on something. So you were already in at a certain level. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, at least in hindsight. So slightly more prop story. And by the way, same with the sell-through results and whatever. That being said, over $1 million seemed like a healthy auction. Yeah. Again, I don't know what they were hoping for or going for, but seemed like a healthy auction. The one other piece,
maybe he can buy a bleak condo now.
A bleak minivan. I was staring at the oversized. I don't know why. All of a sudden, the movie I haven't watched in a million years, Blade 2, and everything I was looking at was Blade 2 related.
Blade 2.
I was looking at that oversized grenade as well.
The UV bomb, yeah.
Yeah, and it had an opening bid of $15K and did not sell. And I may poke around and ask what they would take for it, but anyway, that was that. I got outbid on the storyboard. Oh well. I was sad, but not too sad. I did want it, but I also was desperately trying not to go crazy, if that makes any sense. So
yeah, sure.
So that was exciting. What's new in props with you?
Brief one for me. I mentioned a while ago, the producer that I work with had his first job as a runner was on Princess Bride, and he had produced a bunch of paperwork or more than paper. It was artwork, basically production artwork from the Princess Bride, and it had been in his storage unit forever, so it had some kind of mold mildew growth on it. Not really water damage per se, but definitely like the result of being exposed to moisture and just being through many cold English winters and whatever. And it was the most interesting thing to me was there were 4 copies in there of the sort of woodcuts that are in the storybook. They weren't original art, but they were sort of copies of the original art in there, and these are things that no one has ever seen, because I think you'd see 1 or 2 in the movie. I watched the movie again with these in hand, and it's not the ones that you see, but it's clearly done in the same style. So it's very clearly like from the movie, and it's like there's one in the fire swamp and the entrance to the fire swamp. There's an Andre the Giant one, I think. It's very, very, very cool, and I really, because I love that movie so much, I really love them. And props, but they were kind of damaged. So Prop Store works with this paper restorer, that they like quite a bit. So I took it to them. It took the work took a few months to do, but it came back and the stuff looks like brand new. I mean, I'm really amazed. They really cleaned it up, got everything off of it. I mean, it's basically like bright, shiny new.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And without affecting the underlying paper at all. And there's this really nice frontispiece, which I guess was the frontispiece for the book. I mean, that's what Kevin, my producer, said, which I have to take his word for it because he was very committed. That's what it is. And it's this big, essentially, coat of arms, which I guess is sort of for Humperdinck. It's kind of his royal crest. And I don't have it to pull out here because I put it all away in safe storage, but I'll safe archival paper storage, I should say. But I'll take photos of all of it. But I love his house words are the Latin for me, myself, and I, which I really
that's kind of perfect. That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
So really cool stuff. So now I have this stuff. And I just kind of figure out what's going into a frame, and the sigil for the Florin army, his army, I think Gilder is the one he's trying to start the war with, right? But his army, the sort of griffin head sigil, that original art was in there.
My wife to kill, Gilder to blame for it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So he's Florin and they're Gilder, but that sigil was in there. So there's very sort of stages of that drawing developing, including a kind of a full color one, which was very nice. So again, I'll just snap pictures of all that stuff, but it's neat to have. So it's back from the restore, fully restored and great shape.
Very cool.
I actually got to show it to him too, and he was delighted to see that. He couldn't believe it, and he was like who, like he was. I guess he had never worked in paper restoration before, but I've seen some of it, knowing you so well, some of the art that I've done. It literally is magic when you see it happen. And I think he just had that sort of, any sufficiently advanced technology and is indistinguishable from magic sort of experience. And he was like holding it and turning around. He just couldn't believe it. And then it was like, good for you for taking stewardship of this thing. You really love this stuff. He was really, excellent. He was chuffed, as we would say.
In that pile that he initially gave you, did you get a call sheet or anything like that? Or no, not that kind of paper?
Yes.
You did? Very cool.
Call sheet number 1 was amongst the things that he gave me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What'd they shoot on day 1?
It was location on that call sheet. It was location the Fire Swamp, which had connection to us because in season 1 we shot in the Fire Swamp in Derbyshire, here in England. It's where Damon brains his estranged wife. That's at the in the ravine at the foot of the Fire Swamp. So lots of film.
Is it
history.
Labeled as the Fire Swamp, or you just kind of knew it was the Fire Swamp? Is there a sign? Any signage that says Fire Swamp?
I guess it's a very specific place. So it's funny how clear it is, even 40 years later when you look at it. It's just got that really steep ravine with that really like the tight V at the bottom of it, and it's a hiking path. And when you look at it, it's like that. It's just so clear what it is. But it's a popular sort of tourist site because people walk through there for
very neat.
Princess Bride.
Very cool. I will go quickly. There was an auction going on. I think it's still going on in that they did day 1, but there's a day 2 and a day 3 coming, which is one of the old Hollywood wardrobe houses here in L.A., CRC, Hollywood Wardrobe and Costume, was doing an auction of their holdings. The day 1 was huge, like 700 plus lots. Some of the stuff was identified, some of it was very interesting. It would have like a star's name. Again, not necessarily things I was looking for, when all of a sudden it's like, here's a, I don't know, again, there was like, here's a Lucille Ball skirt, but it wasn't specifically I love so, things that were labeled, and some of that stuff, did some nice little numbers, but a bunch of, just Army stuff, you know what I mean? And, so there was stuff from Band of Brothers, just again, not specific character stuff, although maybe some of it was. Again, I didn't dig too deeply into it, but the one lot that hit me that I had been very, very interested in and had sort of always wondered what had ever happened was they basically had a lot. It was towards the back end, lot, I think it was like lot 700 and something, lot 726. And it was basically about 10 of the original uniforms from the 1976 Bad News Bears movie, and
Oh, that's fun.
something I had always wanted. I don't think I need all 10, but obviously I won it, and now I will figure out. I'll keep a couple. Probably, I know Rob Klein's interested in one or two. I'm sure a couple other people are as well, and I'll end up sort of selling it off. I guess not. I'll keep a couple, like I said, and not looking to necessarily. I don't think I'm going to make my fortune on the Bad News Bears uniforms, but I was really, really excited to get them. The original ones with the bail bond, Chico's bail bonds on the back of them, and they're tiny. They're tiny too. There's like the Tatum O'Neal one. I mean, she was like 11 years old. So these things are tiny, these uniforms. So I'm very excited to kind of pick them up. It's it's just here I'll pick them up here in Hollywood. So I'm excited to sort of pick them up and kind of sort through them and figure out who I have. I think I saw hers, I saw Engelberg's, I saw Ahmad's. So I think Kelly Leaks is in there. So I'm very excited. I love that movie and have always wanted something from it. And this will hit the spot. So that was my very exciting what's new in props.
I will date myself as much younger than your generation, because I watched the TV show. I would love the TV show, which was much cleaner,
the TV
much more
show
family fun.
Ones showed up years ago. When they did show up, I was super excited because I thought initially they were the movie ones, but on the TV ones they can't do Chico bail bonds. That's how you know the difference, I believe. Yeah, they can't. So it's a different. I can't remember who the sponsor was, but it was not Chico's bail bonds on the back, and that was nice but disappointing. Some of them were the same actors. I think a couple overlap.
Yes,
but
there was some overlap. No, Tatum O'Neal was not in the TV show.
No. Yes, exactly. And no Walter Matthau. But So anyway, I was very excited about that. So that was a fun little whatever. But sad also, by the way, that just yet another large sort of long-time Hollywood wardrobe company, I guess, going out of business.
Going under,
and, and didn't make sense, I guess, for another wardrobe company to buy them out. They're going this way with the auction. It sounds like the stuff in the day 2 and the day 3 are going to be even larger lots of just like, I guess background stuff. It'll maybe by date or types, farmers or who knows what it'll be. So it'll be interesting to see what's sort of buried in there. I don't necessarily think we're going to be finding, lost Star Wars items or Star Trek or anything of that nature. But sad also, I guess, a little bit, just again, as production, production contracts and companies merge, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway.
So do you think that you're going to find any Golden Age comic art in there?
Speaking of coconuts, we mentioned earlier the big Keif Fromm collection coming up October 17th, and we thought we've been threatening to talk comic art for a while as Ryan continues to dip his various toes, fingers and whatnot into the comic art world, and we thought we would bring our old pal Kelvin Mao back onto the show. Kelvin, a longtime collector, director of the Dave Stevens documentary, which is called what, Kelvin, for those that want to find it?
Dave Stevens, Drawn to Perfection.
Drawn to Perfection. And where can they find that these days?
Amazon Prime, YouTube, Tubi, Plex. Hoopla.
So you got no reason, no reason not to watch it. You'll see me in there.
It's on the Apple
TV
movie store, and you can buy it or rent it. It's really excellent. It's really there's been a spate of these recently, and I think because Dave's story was so tragic because he died so young and left such a big mark on comic. It has this really nice kind of three-act structure to it, and it's really very moving. I only knew what I snatched from sort of conversations with you two guys going into it, because you both knew Dave so well, and I came out just a massive fan, and it was really sad that I never got to meet him, because he just seemed like such a fascinating guy and was such a obviously incredibly talented artist. But
thanks,
check that out.
Very kind.
I also want to plug, while we're doing some plugs, if you look at Kelvin's hat, for those of you watching on the YouTube, He's got a new comic series called This Ends Tonight that he co-wrote with our other friends, Jerry Duggan and Rob Wyndham. And this was a beautiful image book with gorgeous, gorgeous comic art by Jay Lee. I don't know if any of that art has come up for sale yet, but really beautiful because it's a lot of ladies with guns in Vegas in tight-fitting outfits, bathing suits, and clubwear. That's my summary of it.
Shooting people.
That was our summary too. That's how we have written on a piece of paper. That's what it says. So.
That was the script. That was the working
Since
script.
day one. It's fun.
But issue 3 just came out, and I'm assuming there'll be a trade coming our way soon. Yes.
Yeah. I think it should be out in December, either like December or January. But I'm hoping December before Christmas. So
nice. So take a look for that. It got a really lovely write-up in Forbes magazine of all places, among other things. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a big surprise.
Yeah.
Images PR department, I guess.
Well, very, very cool. Kelvin, you've been on the show before, but remind folks, I mean, you and I basically met through comic art, but you were collecting, I guess, when did you start collecting? Like, you were kind of collecting comic art even, I guess, before LA, or was it more LA?
No, I mean, like sketches, at local conventions and stuff when I was in high school in Allentown, because I worked at a comic book shop then, and then college, there were occasionally conventions that come through, but I didn't really realize, like you, that there was art, original pages.
What was the name of the show? What was the name of the store you worked at in high school?
It was called Beachhead Comics on Chew Street in Allentown, Pennsylvania, owned by this little guy Jeff Rabkin, who's passed away sadly since.
Is the store still exist or long gone now?
Yes. Actually, I think a guy like purchased the store from his widow. It's not in the same spot, but it's like a block away. It's interesting.
But still called Beachhead? They still kept the name?
Still called Beachhead.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Had a famous mural on the side of the building, which unfortunately I think that's gone too. Like someone had painted this, it was like Batman, She-Hulk, and like Cerebus or something really random like that. Someone had painted this mural on the side of the building and had to be renewed every once in a while. And so I think the last time I went back there, I took a picture of myself in front of it, and he had a Jarvis painted on the front window of the front door, like kind of welcoming you in and stuff like that. So it was nice. A cool little old shop. Like it was really cramped and dingy, but you could find cool stuff in there.
What was the best signing or the guest that you guys ever had back when you were working there? Anybody like cool come through?
It would be local people. I think Mark Schultz may have signed there before. I know Jim Balance signed there before. When I was there, I don't remember whether they had anybody. I mean, even when they had shows in Allentown, they were always at like a hotel lobby or a ballroom or something. So I'm not sure. I think Gray Morrow was from the area, so we'd see.
Okay, so you get those guys.
Yeah. And then like little independent guys and stuff like that. Jill Eisner and Tim Vitzel would come through. And nobody, I mean, we never had John Byrne. We never had like Byrne or Mignola or Adams.
I walked
like that.
into the store I shopped at in New York for a long time. I shopped in a couple of them, but my first store was West Side Comics on West 86th Street. And I walked in there one day, and John Byrne was there. And I couldn't afford to buy like an X-Men back issue, so I just bought whatever he had on the stand, which was the Thing comic, the Thing solo comic. So I have an issue of the Thing solo comic that John Byrne signed for me somewhere. So
that's very cool.
He did a great version of the Thing. Very, very distinctive. I always liked that too. So my only FF cover is a Byrne cover is a Thing cover actually.
I was gonna say it's the Orange Rock guy, not John Carpenter's, right?
Yes.
Friendly, happy Thing. Yeah. No beard though. No beard, unlike in the movie. Let's open the catalog up. This is the Keif Fromm catalog. And I guess we might as well just get this out of the way because we were sort of trying to talk a little bit about this before the show, and there's no great easy way. I will simply say never before has there been an auction of a guy's stuff where I hated the guy in real life so much. I don't know what else to say. I just want to, I guess at some point just confess, which was Keif Fromm, as far as I was concerned, was a very difficult human being. I won't get into the specifics, but I had a really sort of terrible relationship with him as a collector who sort of backed out of a deal, et cetera, and was kind of a real pain in the ass, and then would write me to try and rehash and whatever. I want to be really clear, not looking for the guy to be dead or anything like that, so it wasn't that. that.
Well, that's good, at
but
least.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It just was just a guy I chose not to deal with. And it's just very, I don't know, funny, ironic. I don't know what to say. That like here, maybe that this is the first of what will be many, where other people that I've had issues with will pass away.
Dave, don't
and
incite
auction their
violence
stuff
against
off.
don't incite violence against other comic art collectors. It's not right.
But
None
anyway,
of that, no.
here we are. I will simply say I don't believe I was alone in that. I think this was a guy that people had issues with. They hint that there's definitely if you read the various stuff written by some of his various siblings and whatnot at the front, there seems to be a tacit sort of admittance that he could be difficult, and I guess maybe that's the I'm not sure I'm not sure what we're supposed to say or not supposed to say is the honest answer. Not the greatest of reputations. Great art, not the greatest of reputations.
I think that's fair.
Is that fair? Yeah.
I forgot about the collecting, the deal thing. That was something that obviously on your mind, but I'd completely forgotten about that. So.
I was trying to remember, by the way. I think it might have been us selling one of the pieces from Dave's collection.
It was that Black Hawk thing, the military comics, Black Hawk 20 something like that. Big, great golden.
This was a piece that Dave had in his collection that he really loved. We were selling it. I think he was still alive, but wanted it sold. He was looking to raise some money, and I can't remember, took it to Comic-Con or whatnot. And, Keif had a very specific sort of like what he collected. And we'll talk about his sort of, he had a sort of two sort of passion areas, but sort of certainly the Golden Age. And when we talk about Golden Age, we're talking about sort of the war comics, that period. The Silver Age kind of starts in the 60s with like sort of Fantastic Four and whatnot. And so we're talking about Golden Age stuff. And Keif was definitely a huge collector. And, he agreed to a deal and then just fucked around with the deal and ended up I ended up selling it elsewhere. It was so insanely annoying. It was really
Steve Morger, right? Steve Morger was involved.
Steve was in the middle of it. Yeah. And just I don't know, just not enjoyable. And by the way, it would have been one thing if it had been my piece, but he knew it was Dave's piece. And at that point, I believe it was relatively common knowledge that Dave was sick. And it was just not enjoyable. I don't know what else to say. I don't mean to, so here we are. The Keif Fromm collection.
Yep. It was a great cover, though. I think it was Reed Crandall, and it was Black Hawk jumping over something, right? He's like vaulting something with a gun, and it was pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway.
And just think, if he had bought it, I guess it would be lot number 2 or something. But this it's a very interesting collection. I'm very curious to see, I guess there's a couple of things going on in comic art right now. Maybe this is a good place to start start talking about it. I think comic art in some ways has been going through what a lot of collectibles went through, which is it really exploded. I mean, it's been exploding, but certainly the COVID really made it explode. I think we've seen a lot of people moving from some of the other collectibles areas. I think baseball cards, which kind of exploded and flattened out. I think comics, which kind of exploded a bit and flattened out. I think we're seeing a lot of people moving into comic art. I heard Jim Halpern, who is the owner of Heritage, say on our friend Felix's podcast that people move into comic art and don't really move out of comic art, which I thought was a very interesting thing, a very interesting comment. That like not everybody knows about it, but when they find it, they stay there, which I think is a very valid point. I guess this is an example of this is how you leave comic art. You have to die to leave comic art. Anyway. What I was going to say so the numbers have been going wild. We're seeing some really, really crazy numbers in the comic art world. And there's no way of saying this. A lot of it right now is really hardcore speculation. I think we are seeing certain key books and key pieces that are being identified. One of the big identifiers right now, I guess the biggest trend in the sort of new collector speculators, I'm not really sure they are collectors, but they're definitely speculators, is this sort of first appearance idea that people are paying huge money for what they seem to sort of try and say is the rookie card of the comic art character. So they're looking for that that first appearance, that first page. And of course, then there's lots of things. So you can have an issue where if the character maybe is on the cover, that first cover is a first appearance cover. But then also in the book, the first page. But you also get into really crazy stuff. Like, for example, Ryan, were you old enough for Secret Wars? Where does Secret Wars fit into your world?
Well, I mean, it was the back issue
page.
It was the back issue that everybody wanted.
Okay. So the first appearance of the Spider-Man black costume. Yep. If anyone can remember the storytelling, and we can put images up, he goes to this machine. He's told that like there's a machine there that will make a costume for you, a new costume for you, because his costume is all shredded from the battle. And he goes to the machine, but of course it's the wrong machine. And this black ball comes up and kind of goes on his arm. And that is on one page. And then on the next page, the suit kind of engulfs him. And then he is in the black suit.
The splash version.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, I guess if you were asking me what I would want, I would very much enjoy having the page with the suit. But people are paying really crazy money. What was the number, Kelvin, that someone put that up for?
2.8.
Yeah, someone is trying to sell this right now. It has not sold, but they have it priced at $2.8 million for the page of the arm and the ball. Yes.
Yeah, the arm is kind of black. It's just sort of, he's got a hand in the arm it's like creeping up the arm, and then that's
but the ink work on that is just...
Yeah, look at the stitching. And mind you, and this is where it does get a little bananas, mind you, if anyone can remember their Secret Wars chronology, the heroes disappeared at the end of one book. They all went through a gate, and then they were gone for like an issue, and then they popped back with all these changes. So Spider-Man appeared in his own book in the black costume for the first time months before you sort of saw the origin of the black costume in Secret Wars. So what is the first appearance? They're all the first appearance. They have this terminology, birth pages, whatnot. I got to be honest with you. I hate it. I think I hate it because it's based on speculation, and it's just truly based on.
It's very like comic booky in the way you collect comic books, right? Because first appearances are always a big deal. First
appearances have been a big deal, but they really did they exploded more so in the sort of great speculation that went along with the MCU movies. Yes, that as the movies started doing,
it goes back to like Batman '89, right?
Well, it definitely goes back to all the movies where the idea that like if they were going to make a movie of a character, the comic would raise up. But once the Marvel movies really started doing business, things like the first appearance of Thanos, which was Iron Man, whatever, started really doing huge numbers because of the connection. And so, you'd get to a movie like, I can't remember which Avengers had the post-credit sequence where you saw Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for the first time, even though I guess Quicksilver had been in an X-Men movie. That was that whole thing. But when that happens, then you go back to whatever X-Men... first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, I don't know, X-Men, whatever, the first appearance where Scarlet Witch is in there, and so things like that start to explode. So again, I find it comes very much out of speculation. I'm happy to argue this with anyone that wants to come on the show. I think there's a tulip market aspect to this entire thing. I think there's a certain amount of pumping and dumping, which is if we can buy these things for $1 million, we can convince the industry or sort of the collecting world to then buy it from us for $2 million, so it's sort of in the interest.
And also the market manipulation of trying to raise other things around it, right? Like the example with the Spider-Man splash sells for big money, and that is a great, very famous page. I think we can debate whether it's worth $3 million or not, but yes, that was certainly going to be a big deal. But then trying to use that to lift the adjacent page and say, no, the adjacent page is actually the more important thing, et cetera, because it has the first appearance on it or whatever, or other similar.
Well, there's just sort of a used car salesman thing going there, And also, I think the Marvel stuff that Dave was talking about is exacerbated by the fact that they started featuring characters that were more obscure, where their comics weren't already expensive. You know what I mean? If you pick some of these off characters to stick in there, I mean, obviously, if you were making a Batman movie, old Batman comics are already expensive. If you make a comic with, like, I don't know, like you said, Quicksilver or the Guardian of the Galaxy characters, right? Then
lifting
those
the
things aren't that
profile
expensive.
of other things
Yeah.
Right, because it's not just the Joker. Now it's a more obscure villain or whatever it is. Like I said, for me, the biggest problem is, and it's just, I guess, it's funny. I feel like a little bit like Steve Jobs when he used to criticize Microsoft, which was, of course, a bigger company and, doing crazy business and whatnot. And his criticisms were always just sort of like, they don't have good taste. Like, that was his criticism of Microsoft. And that is sort of my criticism of this style of collecting. And it's true. I've seen some of these guys give interviews where they sort of talk about the fact they don't give a fuck about the artist. They don't give a fuck about the story. They have never read the story. They own the, and I guess it's so the opposite of how I collect. But you know what? More power to you. And here we are. This is some of what is driving the market. And so I am going to be very curious because Keif's collection, his sort of two loves, Golden Age art, and then kind of the stuff that kind of like sometimes modern examples of Golden Age art. Very much, speaking of Golden Age, he was really loved the Shazam Marvel family, which is something, Kelvin, you love and collect yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
And he tried. You had a piece we'll get to that he was always trying to trade you, right? There's a cover in here.
Yes.
He was always trying to swap out for one you had. And then obviously he loved Batman. And he's got a Batman McFarlane piece, which is a great way of starting. This is the cover piece. And McFarlane is his whole other market. McFarlane stuff has exploded over the years. And this piece is already at, I think, 400,000 and counting with the VIG. And the auction is not even, as we're recording this, we're not even in the month of October yet. And
so
I believe
I
it
actually,
is. Yeah.
I have a question. So there are no. I mean, one of the many reasons we were kind of overdue for a comic art discussion. People have really been asking for it. People have been writing in, and we were waiting for the right opportunity to do it. This felt like a great opportunity to bring in a good friend of the podcast, Kelvin Mao, and discuss comic art. And the thing that's specific about this auction that I was very interested in, because I just know from talking to Kelvin a lot about this over many, many years, is that it's such a heavy
I thought you were
golden
going to
age.
say over many, many glasses of scotch, but go on.
Many, many glasses of whiskey. All sorts of brown liquid.
I'm going to do that after this, right after this podcast. So
that too, yes. So Kelvin's got a tasting to go to with Team LA after this. But the thing in particular about this auction is the preponderance of Golden Age stuff, which I know nothing about. I mean, I know so little about. I know a bit about this very small window of like 1980s, 1990s comic art in the time that I collected. I kind of know nothing else other than what I've gleaned from you guys, but I really know nothing about Golden Age, and I know that's a big thing for Kelvin. So felt like a good chance to sort of wrangle him. And obviously McFarlane is not Golden Age, but this particular piece is sort of the Golden Age of McFarlane because it was like it's pre
well done.
It's pre Spider-Man. Pre-Spider-Man, but like very, very famous. His depiction of Batman is a very famous sort of image that this sort of exaggerated, I don't know, breaking the margins of the comic book page thing is the thing that he carried on to Spider-Man and then became sort of world famous for.
It's a year after year two. This is the first Batman cover he did after he did year two, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth McFarlane Batman cover, also at $400K or whatever the Mark Davis said. This is probably going to be the most expensive thing in the auction. Despite
that's my guess.
And that is the interesting thing, because I do think the Golden Age, and we'll get to it, the Golden Age examples that Keif has in his collection are fabulous, and they are one of a kind. But much like in sort of prop collecting and any other kind of collecting, I think the folks interested in the Golden Age stuff are fewer and far between. Now, these are such great examples of Golden Age that I do think they're going to do very good numbers for Golden Age art, but I do think the McFarlane will end up dwarfing everything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And in the catalog, that was the question I was sort of getting around to.
There's a reason it's the cover. I mean, that's not an accident.
For sure. Yeah. And for the modern collect, even though it's maybe not as emblematic of Keif's collection, because I feel like that is more of the Golden Age stuff. It is the thing that they think most highly of in the.
Well, by the way,
auction,
just this piece,
a
couple of these pieces were at San Diego Comic-Con, and just looking a little bit at just random Instagram posting, people putting up either pictures of this Batman 423 cover or pictures of themselves, in front of the case with it. Again. Just dwarfed all the other photos. So yeah,
they gave it a really good presentation. I mean, it's in its own case where the other stuff was in like a case with other stuff.
It's incredible. My question is though, it's up to 400,000. There are no estimates or reserves or anything printed in this catalog. Like, what's the story? What's your sense of the story with that and the reason they kind of shied away from putting prices in the catalog? And is it apparent online whether there are reserves or not?
I don't think I think this is a good old-fashioned heritage auction. I don't think whatever the starting bid was the starting bid and could have sold at that number. I think they have a confidence with these pieces that certainly the star pieces are the best of their type, including this Batman cover. I don't think there's any fear, and I think it's going to go in the millions of dollars. And I think there is no reserve because I think the sky's the limit, and to put a reserve would almost, I think, limit it in the sense of, if you said, we think this is going to sell for $1 million, you don't want anybody feeling stupid when they start bidding $2 million and $3 million. So I don't, that's my, unfortunate guess. I mean, as somebody who would love to own it, I think it's going to go like wacko bananas. And I do think, I think this is going to be, this kind of a piece is this Batman cover, and we'll get to it, I don't know, maybe we won't get to it again. We'll talk about it here. This is the perfect storm because you definitely have it being, this is the best McFarlane Batman piece, I think, probably of all. He didn't do a lot of them. This is the great one.
The one.
I couldn't tell you what happens in this issue. This is Starlin, Cockrum, DeCarlo. I think this is when they first they went backwards after year 2 and kind of were doing like the young second Robin. They sort of reintroduced him as a criminal kid and all of that stuff. I couldn't tell you what's in this issue, but I know
the cover's so general. This could have been done as an inventory.
Yeah, I know this cover though. It may arguably be the best piece he ever did at DC Comics. I myself am partial to some of his Infinity Inc. work, but I don't think that that is what other folks are interested in. So I think the McFarlane collectors the McFarlane collectors, the Batman collectors, they're all circling this thing. And then I do think you have the speculators. While this is not necessarily, quote unquote, a first appearance cover, they're going to treat it as this sort of special, like I guess the best Batman piece,
landmark,
kind of the crossover, whatever. And so you're going to see that going on as well. And so again, I think we're just going to see a couple of $1 million on this one way or another.
Well,
so,
they're definitely talking it up with the show, but also the confidence you'd have in putting a McFarlane piece out here like this, a key cover or key image cover, given the most recent landmarks hit by McFarlane art, that I think you're totally safe in figuring you're not gonna do badly on it, right? It's as you said, $1 million is probably very realistic
for sure, more, and so. it's an investment, either way. McFarlane's not going to get less famous over the next 10 years.
Correct. But I mean, it's going to be a wild number. It really is.
Yes.
Agreed. And I do think, like I said, as we hit some of this Golden Age stuff, I think this Golden Age stuff, there are really wonderful examples. And there will be people buying it, but I'm just not, I just think it's going to be a different factor.
That said, I mean, can we talk Golden Age? Like, what's the first thing, Kelvin, to you, Dave? I mean, whoever. I mean, I'm sort of asking questions along for the ride here. What's the first thing that really jumps out to you from his Golden Age collection?
Well, when I go through the catalog, of course, the first thing that jumps out at me are the pictures of Keif dressed as Dracula. But going forward from that,
it's a cosplay, pioneer here. So.
Well, it's funny. The first piece, which is not actually Golden Age itself, that jumps out at me is 94008, which is actually the Rich Buckler cover, Rich Buckler and Dick Giordano, to All-Star Squadron #1, which is a comic book from my youth, 1981, written by Roy Thomas, who had moved from Marvel over to DC and basically created this new comic set during the early days of World War II. Sort of this new team kind of being built out of the Justice Society, who were, I can't even remember where they are at this point in the world. A modern retelling or new telling of Golden Age characters, which was just really fun and really interesting, because a lot of these were characters I only kind of knew a little bit about. Some of them I knew their names. Some of them are the Golden Age version. So yes, there's a Green Arrow, there is a Superman, there is a Batman. But the choice to sort of land on some of these other characters who maybe I had only known from my comic reading from Justice Society crossovers. Yeah, exactly. So this is again very much in, I think, Keif's sweet spot, because it is a modern Golden Age piece. Although at this point, obviously, it is 1981. So it's practically 45 years old at this point, so it's not exactly yesterday. But this is this comic, this cover has been much imitated. This is a very famous pose, the table with photos, whatever.
Well, this feels very Watchmen to me.
Well, I guess in the sense of in the sense of the period and whatnot.
The two eras of the villain, the heroes looking back on the past. I don't know.
Well, definitely so, but without the deconstruction, this was
correct.
This was a straightforward, really just wonderful sort of straightforward superhero. It was again, Roy Thomas coming over from Marvel Comics and almost bringing a little bit of the Marvel style of pacing and character to these Golden Age characters who, because it's all in the past, he could kind of muck about with a little bit without, I think, upsetting, modern DC continuity. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, this is a great cover. I'll certainly probably be a bidder on it, but, and again, no, there's no estimate on it. I think it's going to go high because, again, it is an issue #1. There'll be some of that going on, but also it is just a beloved cover of the period. But again, it is connected to the Golden Age.
You can see very much how he came to get this cover, want this cover, because most of the material from these original characters back in the day would be it wouldn't exist. He probably looked for the stuff that would represent these characters in actual Golden Age art, couldn't find them, and then if
you could find them, some of them were on some of the pages that at some point or another DC Comics cut up the pages and threw them in the garbage, and then basically what is out there are people that managed to kind of go into the garbage and pull out the panels or put pages back together. So if you wanted, just look who's on the table there. If you wanted, for example, a the Golden Age Green Lantern, the not Hal Jordan, the Alan Scott Green Lantern, you'd be lucky.
Fate.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if you got a 3-panel cut piece, one tier of something. So this cover probably very much spoke to Keif. That's the what and the why. And again, certainly probably for me, it was almost the reverse, where Keif was into the Golden Age and then was probably reading this book. I read this book and then went backwards into the Golden Age a bit because I was so taken with these characters. This is such a great book. Again, kudos to everyone involved, but especially Roy and Danny Thomas. So for me, it was a little bit of a gateway into the Golden Age, where originally I'd read a little bit of early Superman, a little bit of early Batman, a little bit of early Shazam, and a little bit of early Wonder Woman out of those hardcover books that they did in the 70s, from the Superman from the 30s to the 70s, Batman from the 30s to 70s, etc.
I think that's one of those things that we have in common, just like we both read reprints of old Silver Age and Golden Age books as kids, not knowing that they were old, not realizing they weren't like what was currently being printed and stuff. So that's I also did read these as well, but this is where it's to me, I don't know where Keif came to the Golden Age stuff, but for me, because Keif, I think, is the same age as you, or was the same age.
I thought it came from comics first, but I could be wrong. Again,
So he may have collected Golden Age, but for me, in the mid '70s, it was all reprint stuff, so. And not knowing, so there's a nostalgia for something that's way older than I was. So,
So, I mean, again, this is something, I mean, I love this book, All-Star Squadron. If we inch forward, this number 1 is spectacular. He's got the number 4 cover, which is the next lot. Really pretty lot. And then after that, he's got, this is I guess this was I think this was a fanzine piece when they were sort of creating the book. So this, I think, maybe even predates the book. So that's
Amazing
pretty,
Heroes.
yeah,
Amazing
Heroes,
right.
the old fanzine, whatever. So pretty spectacular. Again, modern versions of these Golden Age characters. And then if we jump to the next lot, which is sort of a DC Comics Presents cover, Superman and the Shazam Family. And again, this is something, again, a more modern cover, but this is the stuff, again, Keif loved the Shazam Family. And so that's going to take us forward into this.
And Buckler, apparently. He really liked Buckler.
I guess he knew Buckler. Yeah. Maybe he knew Buckler. So if you look at the next lot, which is lot 12, this is, again, if you were a Golden Age collector, this is the kind of stuff you were finding. You were tracking down the old Golden Age artist, this is Jack Burnley, and asking him to just simply do a recreation. This is the next lot you see is Travis Charest doing Captain Marvel. He's a modern artist. So again, this is Keif asking a modern artist to do the characters he loved. And then we start to roll. Now we're looking, if you go to the next lot 14.
Yeah, same thing. Cockrum's a modern guy doing.
This is a 70s version of Captain Marvel. So you can kind of see what Keif was into. But where you really, where this catalog really, I guess, really starts to go like, holy shit. Again, I love that All-Star Squadron run cover, but lot 16, this is really, I mean, one of a kind. I mean, Kelvin, go for it here, because I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah.
Where are we on here? The Jack Cole page. This is so Jack Cole most famously created Plastic Man in 1940 something. And so this is actually what is it? Silver Streak.
The comic, this is the Golden Age Daredevil, so not...
Yes, the Golden Age Daredevil, unconnected to the Marvel Daredevil. This character was created in 1940 by Jack Bender, and and Cole was hired to like sort of edit this comic and kind of give this character, who hadn't even shown up yet, like a makeover. So this is art by Cole, which is very unusual because most of his artwork is destroyed, particularly his superhero artwork, and also it's actually hand-colored by him. So this is a piece I'd seen floating around a little before Keif had it, and it was a very famous piece because it's so rare for there to be a Jack Cole original from a superhero comic. And Cole passed away very young, like 43 years old, I think, in 1958, and so it's hard to find his stuff. He was famously told the stories of having to destroy his own artwork while he was at Quality Comics, which is a company that put out Plastic Man, and also like that military comics we talked about earlier, and so just the idea that the artist himself had to destroy all the artwork. So unfortunately, it's few and far between, and this is unique in that he also colored it. I presume before giving it somebody or something like that, which is something you would see.
By the way, possibly for the period, back that was Golden Age. Maybe he had to color it so they would understand the new coloring, or who knows,
I know it's certainly possible. I have never looked at the actual page, so it might actually match up. So
we cruised past a little bit because we were talking about Batman and so on. But there was a Shazam cover back at the front of the catalog. Is that?
Right. We should go back to go back to lot. What lot is it? We should go back to lot number.
It's like 2, I think, right?
94. Sorry, my eyes are terrible. 94002. So this is the cover that Dave was talking about earlier. The Wiz Comics number 19 cover. So I'm not sure about this. I don't know if Keif competed. We never talked about this, but back in 2003, I won the cover to Wiz Comics number 17 by C.C. Beck and Pete Costanza out of Heritage Auctions. They'd uncovered 3 different Fawcett Comics Golden Age covers. Wiz Comics 17, I think it was Captain Marvel Adventures number 2, and then a third one, America's Best Comics. I can't remember the issue number, that was not put up for auction. I think it's in Jim Halpern's collection. So I had the 17, which was, I guess, earlier than Keif's. So when we started talking, he really wanted to trade me this cover,
But also,
mine,
yours is a more kind of classic war cover,
right?
Which
Yes,
you would
I've got
see.
the Nazi tank being punched through the air by Captain Marvel. So you like that? The war covers that actually show superheroes battling the Nazis and whatnot are rare and more sought after. I do like this cover a lot. I think the art on this cover is wonderful. I think this might be. Let me see. Is this all Beck? Because that face looks like it might be all CC. Well, that's just Pete Costanza distributed. But this is much more of an illustrative cover, and I love how the shark goes in front of the logo. I think that's really cool and like an early example of something they did more later. And the girl is nice. It's a great cover, and I would have loved to own it. But Keif never really gave me credit for the fact that mine was earlier in a war cover, so it was kind of a non-starter. But I think. I don't know if he would have traded it straight up. I don't know. He definitely felt like wasn't giving me credit, so I was happy to keep mine, and it's framed. And I think we had it on the podcast.
But you got a lot of emails from him, so that was good.
Yes. He was exhaustive in his ransom note style emails. So I had a lot of long correspondences with Keif that were sort of endless, that eventually petered out when we got fed up with each other. I think for a while, I have to be honest, it was actually trolling him. I didn't really have any interest in talking to him, but it was funny to see how far I could push things before he gave up and just told me off. So
anyway. Well, I mean, also, best we bring it up live on the podcast here. Dave Mandel, also not a fan of Kelvin Mao. So
a lot of those emails were from me, signed Keif's name.
Also trolling me. So it all kind of comes around, because it's comic art and trolling and props. So
I am excited to bid in the Kelvin Mao comic art auction when he dies. So yeah,
I can't wait for all the pictures of me dressed up in superhero outfits to be shown. That's going to be part of my contractual obligation to Heritage also. Let's move to the next one because
I gotta tell my wife no photos in the catalog.
All photos. It's going to go the other way.
Cut to me. So I'm pretty sure he was pretty dead set on the photos.
He said it. He said that. CC Beck Shazam #3 is lot number 3, which is a great.
That was the other one I wanted to ask about because it just feels like
But again, a 70s cover of a Golden Age character.
Yeah.
And again, not in a bad way or anything like that. But again, the 70s covers were the things I'm guessing he was able to find easier and first. And then eventually you would have oh my God, there is a Golden Age Captain Marvel cover. Wiz Comics cover 19. Gotta grab it. And so he had a very serious pursuit of these things. That's what he was looking for. So, kind of amazing. Look at lot 6, which is a Mary Marvel #5 from 1946.
Yeah.
Again, these things don't grow on trees, and for whatever reason, it's dated 1941, although it didn't get published till later. These things were hard to find, and these things are. I mean, again, we're seeing variations of them, but they're hard to come by. If they're not one of a kind, they're 2 or 3 of a kind. And I will be curious, what other collectors, how many other collectors are interested in this stuff. I guess that's, obviously, all it takes is 2 to get somewhere. But I'll be very curious. I don't have the answer.
That's gonna be fascinating because I can't tell you that I've seen another Golden Age Mary Marvel cover. Some of the things that Keif had in his collections could be the ones.
There is no market because there hasn't been one since he either found them, years and years and years ago. A lot of these were never in auction in the first place. So it's sort of fascinating for those reasons. I got no great answer. Where should we go next?
I was going to jump to lot 19, which is the first Ditko piece that I found in the auction. I feel like Dave would have something to say about that. It's a Tales to Astonish, which was also that was the book that Hulk first appeared in, right?
It's a great piece. It's Giant Man and the Wasp. It's Ditko. He's not inking himself. Again, it's I don't know. I'll simply say it's a great piece. Early Giant Man and the Wasp. It's not what the average Ditko fan is looking for, but there's also not a lot of these pages. So if you are a Ditko fan and don't have it, you know what I mean? So again, I don't have that answer. It's not for me, although it's a very nice page, I guess is the easiest way of putting it. When it comes to Ditko, and there's sort of forgive me. There's a second page that follows it, I guess.
Yeah, it's
or there are 2 pages. No, page 11. Oh, group of two. Group of 2.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's funny because
right.
the lower panel on the second page looks very similar to the lower panel on the first page.
Well,
but
they're both pages. They're both marked page 11.
Oh,
They're both marked page 11, so they must be 11 from 2 pages.
Something must be to read here. I can't read it.
2 pages, the same action with different art.
Oh. Well, then
A
maybe
page
I'm
by
wrong.
Joe Orlando. So this second page isn't Ditko. Stan Lee rejected Orlando's art, and they went with
yes. The second one definitely not Ditko.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's why
Wow.
Ditko drew it. Who knew? Yeah.
The second page even less desirable by Ditko fans.
Yes. And then Keif with Marilyn Monroe on the following page. But let's move on.
Does she know that's Dracula? So lot 21 is a very nice 4-page Eisner spirit
Yeah, I thought
story.
this is very cool.
The newspaper strips. Yep.
Yep.
Does this qualify as Golden Age 50s? Is that still, or is that now silver?
No, this is
still Golden Age, Eisner Spirit, whatnot. This is the Spirit in Outer Space, which is a sort of a subset of the Spirit stories that people are kind of looking for. People are always interested, especially in like the page 1 splashes. This one has a solid one, maybe not necessarily. I think in some of the early Spirit stories, you're seeing these kind of fabulous splash pages where Eisner is like reinventing the medium. I'm not sure this is that one, but again, it is a complete Spirit story and certainly very nice. And then a couple other Spirit pieces. Lot 22 is a 70s cover, full color Eisner piece. And then lot 23 is an 80s Eisner reprint piece. So again, Keif, the stuff that Keif likes, he has the Golden Age examples, but then also has modern examples as well. So
and this looks like the Lou Fine cover, right, Dave? This looks like with the
yes,
the
it's sort of him doing a version.
Soft.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Lot 25, a nice Chernobog from Fantasia animation thing, cool. if one is interested. Lot 26, this is Fawcett Animal Fair #1, so funny animal comic. Connected
big in the Golden Age.
Huge in the Golden Age. The Marvel Bunny, I don't know what the Marvel Bunny's name was, but obviously there he is.
Hoppy? Is it Hoppy?
Oh yeah, Hoppy the Marvel Bunny. That sounds right when you say it. And again, very Golden Age. I don't know what the demand will be for this one. Whereas now let's jump to the next one. This is the one we were just talking about. This is Hit Comics #5. This is lot 27. This is the Red Bee cover by Lou Fine.
That's a great cover.
One of the incredible Golden Age artists, like his pen and ink work, just stupendous. Just a beautiful cover. This is
another guy fighting a shark.
Lots of sharks, but again, that's I think what this is sort of a little bit. That was an homage to this one. Just a fabulous cover, super rare, super. Again, these things. There's not like a lot of other Hit comics, et cetera, et cetera. The Red Bee, obviously not anybody's. Not a lot of people dressing up. The Red Bee is very like almost like the original Night Owl in Watchmen kind of a thing. Just kind
Until
of a guy.
Marvel adds them to the next Avengers movie.
Exactly.
Then this will be
guy in a suit, so a simple mask. But anyway, the long and the short of it is just an amazing Lou Fine cover. I am just really part of why I'm so excited about this auction is just that. I'm super curious just honestly to see where this goes. Like, I just don't know.
What is the market?
Yeah,
right?
Maybe some of the Golden Age comic guys come over and go after this. I know there are people, like our friend Chuck Costas loves Golden Age stuff. Is he a player on one of these things? I don't know. I'm just very curious. I think,
we saw this in person, Dave, right?
Yeah.
We saw this in person years and years ago before Keif even owned it. So, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a gorgeous piece.
I love the scale of it too. You can see it with Keif holding it in the sort of file photo there. I love
right, with the Mylar.
it's like a proper piece of art.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It is a lovely oversized piece. But it is interesting, going back to what Kelvin was just saying. I remember when this was around, and ultimately these things ended up with Keif. And yes, I definitely know on like the Batman McFarlane cover, he won that in auction. He paid a good price at the time. But a lot of this other stuff, he picked up because he didn't have a lot of.
Competitors.
I don't think there were a lot of competitors for this stuff, and I'm just curious to see where this stuff goes now. Again, this is a very special cover. I just don't know how many. Again, going back to like when we were talking about some of those the new buyers, the speculators and the first time appearance guys. Is this something they're going to make room for? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's interesting. You could argue it's very first appearance-y in the sense of you probably can't find another Hit Comics Red B Lou Fine cover. So it's not necessarily the first appearance, it's the only appearance. But are people going to be, I don't know. I'm very curious to see
well, there's like a museum significance to some of these things too, I mean, like if you had a history of comic art museum, you'd need to have something like this.
Yeah, if George Lucas is really buying and looking to sort of build sort of a real history of narrative art, I mean, a lot of these are pieces I would think they would be looking at. But again, just speculation. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so lot 29, the next one, which is this beautiful, beautiful piece of golden age 1940s comic art. It's Police Comics, which it's funny. I don't know that I ever heard of Detective Comics, but this one features Plastic Man on it. And is this, Kelvin? I know you're a massive golden age Plastic Man
This is one
fan.
I got beat out on. I was the underbidder on this cover when it sold in Heritage back in whenever it was sold.
So is this on your radar?
I guess I feel compelled to look and see because, as Dave said, you can't tell what these go for. When I lost to Keif. It was probably like 12 or 14K. It wasn't like a lot of money today in terms of something that's so rare because I believe Gill Fox's estate, I don't know if it was because he passed away, but all this stuff came from his estate. So there were two Police Comics covers from the same estate.
One didn't have one without plastic, one with Plastic Man, one without Plastic.
Oh no, the other one had Plastic Man with his head like. Yes, it was number, I don't know, 5 or 6, Police Comics 5 or 6, with him like stretching his neck and hitting a guy with his chin. It was kind of an awkward looking cover, and then a recreation that Gill Fox had drawn, which I actually did win. And then this one, which is great. I love him coming out of the test tube. It's very cool. Gill Fox is one of Quality's main artists back in the Golden Age and did a lot of Plastic Man stuff. It's a great example. I mean, I guess I'm compelled because I have not seen anything else come up cover wise since this one and the other one came up in auction years ago. So
the other thing that Keif did was the whatchamacallit, I guess they're calling it the color guide or the
color
sketch
guide,
there.
Yeah.
That originally, it's labeled with all the colors and stuff. That I think originally was its own lot. That he added that. So I think he sort of pieced this all together. You could have bought that separately and whatnot.
Yeah, the prelim was definitely separate.
Yeah. And the printer's proof of the
and
the
he's
artwork,
done and he's definitely
enjoyable.
done restoration on it. If you go back, you can see it on the Heritage site. You can see the original logo was much in rougher condition. This looks like a new logo. They must have copied it and made a new logo and cleaned up some of the glue stains that were on it. Looks like a nice solid job that they did on it.
A clean logo, very clean logo. Police Comics 9, I stand corrected. That was the other covers.
The other Plastic Man.
The other and Gill Fox specifically. Like, there was a bunch of stuff. I can't remember why. I think there may have been something else I was bidding on the auction. Perhaps I was higher priority after having lost this. This because I don't know why I didn't buy the prelim. Maybe it came up before. I don't know. I feel like I would have bought that prelim. Looks pretty cool. It's beat up, but I like the fact that it makes it look old.
It's neat. Yeah, it's neat. And then
I think it's a pretty fun cover. I mean, it is a funny thing. It's like, again, you're talking about what do you want? You want a Jack Cole Plastic Man cover or Jack Cole Plastic Man.
Do.
That doesn't exist. There's a page, right? Now there's
sadly
one page.
no.
Yeah.
Yep, the page. Well, I mean, obviously there's the Daredevil in this thing. But there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's few and far between.
Yeah. but really, really gorgeous.
Yeah,
The next one is an example of Frank Frazetta of some of his comic artwork for the Ghost Rider. This is some of his earliest work, but you can certainly specifically in both the girl and just the ink work, you can see see Frazetta.
Yeah.
Obviously
the hair.
Frazetta right now. Frazetta is
Very hot.
Super hot. The next other comic art auction, which I think is in, I guess, November, December.
Yeah,
there's
end
a
of
whole
November,
there's a whole bunch of Frazetta pieces in that auction.
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, no, obviously the numbers, but curious to see if again, the comic art stuff. Again, does it connect? Does it drive?
Well,
does it
that's
push? Yeah.
I mean, my question is like, where does this sit? Because like his famous funny stuff does quite well. But that's
does
more,
a little more
that's
space stuff, a little more
deeper into his era, right? This is
the
more
space,
very early.
that cover went for a good chunk of change there. Too.
Yeah, almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8, 9, something in there. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good for a black and white piece.
Again, I'm sure we're going to see movement here. I don't think this is. Again, a great cover, maybe not the same as what some of the people going for the Frazetta paintings are looking for. That's the best I can say. I don't know. Again, I think it's gorgeous.
I think you're right. Yeah,
sure.
But I think and also different from the Canaveral like Doubleday like Burroughs stuff. I think that's one market. I think the comics is a different market. There's a strip art and then there's the paintings, right? And the paintings even divvy up into like an old classic thing, like the Conan painting versus something done like in the 70s or 80s. So. Let's move to 34.
Oh no, we gotta go to 30. We gotta go to 32 first. Go to 32 first. If you are a dentist, you must buy this piece. This is a Chester Gould, the creator, artist, writer of Dick Tracy. This is a dentist Dick Tracy specialty item that he did for his dentist, Dr. Levitt, of Dick Tracy basically saying he's going to capture Dr. Levitt if he doesn't pull the right tooth. And basically he's working on him. The doctor has a cigar in his mouth while he works on Dick Tracy.
His foot on his
foot
chest
is
for
up
leverage.
on the chair for
Yeah,
leverage.
yeah.
And
I love
Tracy
this.
has a gun ready to shoot
Cigars
him.
in his eye.
If I were a dentist, I would buy this piece and I would redesign my entire office around this piece. It would be. I almost want to go to dental school just to buy this piece.
The first image that patients see when they walk in the door should be.
Yep,
this.
exactly.
So
This would be my business card as well. It would be on my. Yeah, on my website.
You're always looking for that famous autograph that says "To Dave." Can you imagine the luck if you were Dr. Levitt?
If you're Dr. Levitt, holy fuck, yeah. But I do love that. I love that. Sorry, let's jump to
34,
lot 34.
The Flash. This is
so
Silver
this
Age.
answers Ryan's questions from earlier. I believe most people consider the creation of the Silver Age Flash and Showcase 4 to be the beginning of the Silver Age. Is that right, Dave? That's right.
I think so, and then followed by the Marvel stuff. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so this is when
1956.
DC begins to bring back the Golden Age heroes, but with more of a sort of sci-fi twist, if you will. They kind of sci-fied them all up, courtesy of
Infantino,
Carmine Infantino.
Yeah.
Just really
they start
incredible.
feeling a little more Marvel-y, right?
Well, no, Marvel's kind of after the fact. They're first.
Yeah, Marvel's is more like 60s and stuff. They're not quite there yet.
Marvel's is a bit of a response to the DC stuff.
Marvel's a response to DC. Okay.
Yeah, they kind of do their own thing. This is really special. You do not see these covers. The story goes back in the sort of days of these covers. If you used to write a letter into DC Comics and they published your letter, they would often send you the cover or the whole story as a thank you for your letter. So that's how some of this stuff is out there.
For your color with crayons.
Yeah, but it's been a while since we've seen a great Flash cover. This one, obviously,
this is awesome.
Kid Flash on it. Just really, this is just a really incredible piece. So
and is Carmine Infantino a noted
huge of the Silver
did
Age,
Star Wars stuff too, and a lot of other characters. Also was editor at DC Comics for many years.
Very famous for sort of the refreshing of Batman that kind of went along with the new look Batman, where they kind of added the
oval, the yellow,
yellow oval, but also kind of I don't know, kind of when the TV show was big, kind of like redid Batman, not to make it like the TV show, but to reflect some of those sensibilities, like in terms of the visual sensibilities. This is
Dave's
just
got a couple of great covers, right? You've got
I have a couple of
really
great
awesome
Infantino Batman pieces. I've never had a Flash piece. I've always wanted one. This is certainly something I'm going to keep my eye on. Again, it's a funny thing. I think DC Silver Age does less well than Marvel Silver Age. Some of that is just, I think Marvel had more of a fan, more sort of diehard fan base. I think it's a little bit of the movies as well. But this is a fucking killer cover, and it's been a while since one of these has shown itself. I think this is going to be a very healthy number. I don't know what the number will be, but I certainly am keeping my eye on it. I love the Kid Flashes on it as well from the Teen Titans. The teen the sidekicks and whatnot. Pretty amazing cover. So I'll be.
I got a real soft spot for DC Silver Age too. I know it doesn't go as much in auctions, but I like all these quirky characters from this time period when they were trying stuff out in Showcase and stuff. That's where you get all the Metal Men and Doom Patrol, and that comes from something else. But
this was their premiere line, Flash. But yeah. I do wish there was available. I do wish. I mean, again, here's me criticizing something I don't have. I love the ones. I truly love the Flash Rogues gallery. So the ones where there's like a bad guy on it, like whatever.
Mirror Master,
Captain Boomerang, Captain Cold, like anybody firing a cold ray at the Flash. I love that as well. But I love the Kid Flash here because you kind of get that running Speed Force effect, which was some of the stuff that Infantino kind of really invented, perfected for this run on the Flash. Some of this stuff, when I think of the Flash, I think of like that running effect. I think of his costume popping out of his ring, the Flash costume that he would keep in the ring and he would change. So this has at least the running effect on it in a great way.
And more dynamic, I think, layouts and stuff. This is before like Neil Adams or any of those guys. I think Infantino would do a great stuff with guys being punched out of frames and stuff like that, and a bit more perspective. I mean, that's how I think of him with the Batman stuff. So,
Lot 35 is a Kaluta House of Mystery cover for iVampire. Not as we know, not a big horror guy. I love the Kaluta art, just not my thing story wise.
I love Lot 36.
Yeah, 36 is pretty incredible, and Kelvin, I'm sure one of your favorites.
I was just discussing this with someone else who's interested and asked my opinion about this cover, this page, and obviously this is it's listed as Kane, Robinson, Russo's from Batman 13, which this is a period of time where Jerry Robinson would have been inking Batman and Russo's would do the backgrounds. I have my own page from Batman 11 that I had Jerry Robinson himself confirm that Bob Kane actually did the pencils, because obviously. If for anyone who doesn't know, Bob Kane and Bill Finger created Batman, but Bob Kane did not draw as much Batman as he purported to. However, he would take credit for pretty much anybody who drew Batman, even going like into the 60s and stuff. So, but
I think in his original contract, he got credit no matter who drew it, basically.
Yeah.
This is, and I guess he found a young Jerry Robinson at Columbia University and just basically hired him to start drawing. This is a great page. I'm assuming there's some Kane in there somewhere. It feels early enough, but obviously
you can tell by the real kind of stiff poses, like Batman in panel 2 that looks like Kane. In the last panel, of course, and this is Batman and Robin, through and through every panel.
I love that panel.
Great inks, and you get a little bit of Zipatone in the top two panels, and I think I've seen these pages for sale in the 30-35 range, and I think this one could go for a bit more, just because you got the handshake, in that bottom left panel, like that sort of reminiscent of the TV show,
Oh, that's right, that too, yeah.
Page.
A wonderful page from the period. Again, I've seen some pages from the same period where you end up with more bad guys, not a lot of Batman. I mean, Batman is in practically every panel, I guess, and the one panel he's not in is a close-up of Robin reading a letter. So this is a pretty great, Batman-Robin page, especially the end panel. This is gorgeous. I mean, when I think about my collection and something I don't have, I would love to have a Golden Age Batman piece by sort of that Kane Robinson combo, and Lord knows this is one of those. I think it's incredible. So just pretty.
I mean, it's
pretty
got that
amazing.
classic storytelling with the shadows. That's something you see all the time in Golden Age comics, especially Batman in the Letter. That's it's hard to ask for more, except villain. But and I think Joker might have been in this issue. I think I was almost going to buy a page from Batman 13. I'm not sure if it from the story, because back then the issues had like a bunch of shorter stories in them. But in great shape too. I think he picked a good example here for sure. To
really,
to have as his,
really gorgeous. Yeah.
Lot 38. Another Ditko is Kirby and Ditko.
This is Kirby and Ditko, kind of an interesting combination.
Tales of Astonish 50.
Doesn't 100% always work, but it's kind of interesting.
Page necessarily, but I guess the history of it.
This one doesn't stand out as much as that. What was that annual, Dave? Was it Strange Tales or whatever, where they work together and it's really
the one with the Human Torch one? That one?
I think so.
That's really good. And there's the one I always loved was there's an early issue of the Fantastic Four, I think, with the Ghost who has the monkey. I like monkeys. Who has the monkey assistants, and I think who I'm talking about.
The Red Ghost.
Red Ghost. Thank you. Yeah.
With
his has he like the evil orangutan, the gorilla, and whatever.
I just watched the Fantastic Four movie. They were cut out, right? The orangutans are still in it, but he's not.
Yeah, you see them for a second. But I was going to say, I think there's one of those issues that's Kirby inked by Ditko, and it's a really great combo. I really love that issue. Lot 39 is a Dark Side design piece, maybe toy
cool.
design.
It's like a superpowers thing or something.
Superpowers, maybe. Or maybe when they were even trying to do like cartoon stuff, because they did the Superpowers cartoon stuff as well. I don't know.
Right.
Very cool. Kirby pencils, very like early 80s when Jack Kirby moved out to LA to kind of find his fortune in animation. Very neat. Lot 40, Barry Kitson from Batman Year One. Really pretty piece.
Justice League Year One.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? I apologize. I don't even know what I said.
Batman.
I said Batman. Sorry. Yeah. Really nice, fun sort of, again, retelling of that, the origins of the Justice League.
Huge group shot.
Really nice.
It's incredible art.
Two pages on one page of art. The sort of 2-page conclusion of that issue, which is very cool.
Yeah, 20 by 15 by almost 16 inches. It's a big one.
Lot 41, another crazy Golden Age piece. Not as big a name. Color. Bernard Klein, not one of the bigger names here. So again, this is from Daredevil Comics. Perhaps a less well-known character, but also less well-known artist. Very
the
Golden
Glass
Age.
Gargoyle. Yeah. I'm not familiar with this one. This is obviously it's interesting to see these things are definitely rarities, but then there's so many Golden Age characters that were flash in the pan.
This one is so rare it may be too rare. Yes, such a thing as too.
Not sure how
rare.
many Glass Gargoyles there are. I'm not even sure if Dynamite has taken this one on. So
Yeah.
Right.
The next piece is very fun. Lot 42.
The Kurtzman piece.
This is the Kurtzman for the Advanced Collector, I think, which is one of the the updates they would do, and it's Kurtzman doing his version of a Comic-Con, which I think is pretty darn fun and somewhat accurate. I've been
to this show.
I know those folks.
You're a big Kurtzman guy, Dave. You love this stuff.
I love
this is
Kurtzman. I think I think he, in some ways, I think maybe even in the comedy world, I mean, let alone the comic world, but in the comedy world doesn't get enough credit as just sort of the founding father of like sort of comic parody and whatnot, and really a sensibility that I think flows right into Saturday Night Live and whatnot. I have some Kurtzman in my collection. I do like this piece quite a bit. It's just a fun piece. Looks like it's from the 80s. It looked like so that was very cool. Yeah, very fun piece.
And this could be something you could get for like you.
Yeah,
could get
I mean, again, I'm not sure.
Fun,
I mean, maybe this is somebody's absolute favorite Kurtzman piece, but also maybe an opportunity to grab something like this. So yeah, check it out. Lot 43 is the wraparound cover for the Rudolph Treasury, which is again, I had I had this book. Very enjoyable. So yeah, kind of neat. And 44, which I've seen people talking about online, which is a Mazzucchelli, year one sketch, signed to Keif.
Can't tell whether this is period to the book or whether this is when he was doing shows later in the 2010-ish.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Maybe I'm thinking a touch later, or maybe just deciding to do a piece like this. Kind of interesting, because obviously there's not exactly a moment like this in the book. It's not a recreation of that. Mm-hmm. But just kind of interesting. Lot 45. I mentioned Infinity
Your
Inc.
favorite,
earlier.
Right
this is the Infinity Inc. were the sons and daughters of the Justice Society characters, also created by Roy and his wife Danny Thomas. And this is very early McFarlane. He did 2 fill-in issues. He had been doing Coyote, then did 2 issues that were really great looking, featuring this villain called Chroma. Then they brought him back. Sometimes he was inked by Tony DeZuniga, who I'm not sure was the best inker for McFarlane. But in these early Justice Society, in these early Infinity Inc. issues, you saw McFarlane starting to experiment with a lot of that page breaking and whatnot. It was really, really cool. Even just the design on this splash. Anyway, I don't think that's going to be a big price, but not a shock.
Dave
to see
Mandel,
it.
world's biggest Infinity Inc. collector, and although if this is the first of something, you might be in trouble, right? Look, it's his,
I don't think
it's
it's
his first appearance splash page.
I don't.
It says it on the thing. It's his first appearance, splash page 1, original
of
art.
what? I don't even know what.
I don't know.
Could be the first
I'm
appearance.
just telling you, they're appealing on keywords, right?
Yes, I mean, I guess.
First appearance of the Helena Cosmatos version of Fury, predating her ongoing role in Young All-Stars.
Coming to a James Gunn movie near you.
Yeah. So if you're a first appearance guy, and maybe it's like maybe you buy this and then put it on your CAF, your CAF, and you then start saying, "Look at this! It's the first appearance of whatever, not for sale," and then it's for sale. So there you go. That's how you. That's how we do it.
You can see in the Dr. Fate cape, though. You can see the DNA of the later McFarlane stuff of the guys in the background.
David Mandel
looks like,
teaches market manipulation here on this week's Stuff Dreams Are Made Of.
In the early days of eBay, like I'm talking the mid 90s when we were first putting stuff on comic art. So like when you would sell a piece of comic art on eBay. It was always very funny, like when everyone realized that if you just put the word "hot" in your eBay listing, that would somehow attract more attention. Like as if it was just whatever. McFarlane Spider-Man original art, page 8, issue whatever, hot, HOT, with exclamation point, exclamation point.
Keith always put that in his emails to me. It was always, check out this hot CC Beck cover, this hot.
That's right. He was
Gill Fox.
He was just following the eBay style guide.
Yeah. Another McFarlane lot 46.
Lot 46 is a nice page.
Interior page. This is from year 2. I was trying to remember. I either owned a page. I either owned this page or I owned a page like it where he had the gun.
I
did own this page. Yeah, I owned this page once. It's funny. The year 2 storyline just does not work for me. The art's wonderful, story didn't, and I let it go. What can I tell you? It just for me.
I had a great page too, but I'm regretting it now because God knows what this page is going to.
Well, I guess I'm regretting it only in the sense of I'd love to be selling it today, but I never particularly loved it.
Like the story.
Yeah.
Oh man, my page was it was one of those pages where it was like a demo. They had him doing something different every panel, and McFarlane was doing a different technique, and I'm kind of like, why did I give that up? All right. Keep going. I didn't care about the story either.
Right, you didn't care about the story, and that's the honest answer. And then that brings us to this page, which, by the way, breaks my rule because I don't know what this story is, and I don't care. If I could get this, I would. But again, there are rules. And if I had owned it, I never would have let it go, et cetera, et cetera. And I do think I thought about bidding on it at the time, but of course at the time I think I saw the number and went, "That's crazy," and here we are. So very funny.
It's a beautiful cover.
Got the head in the corner box. I love when those guys do that. I love when they put an extra little illustration in the corner box.
I even love that he signed it in the bat symbol. I love that too. So
yeah,
just very, very neat.
Great image.
Where to next? I mean, again, you're seeing things like, for example,
recreations.
49 is a
49
recreation.
Shelley Moloff, another one of Bob Kane's Batman Ghosts, but also did a lot of other stuff, doing recreating covers he did. early.
But yeah, you could
Golden
hire
Age
him
Green Lantern.
all through like the 80s and I think into the 90s to do recreations,
Yep.
which was, fun and great. Um, and and good on Keif for like keeping these guys busy. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he was both repping some of them and helping them, but also buying from them.
He repped Louis Ayres Schwartz at conventions, and I thought that was a nice thing. I don't know what his end of it was, but I did think at the time, well, it was nice for him to spend time helping these guys get tables at shows and stuff. What's up with Lot 50, by the way? The random pinup painting by Earl Moran in the middle of this auction. I don't understand.
I'm guessing just something he owned. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
They feel like his pedigree lifts it up rather than just stick it into an illustration auction, I guess. But
I again, no idea. I'm guessing they're going to let the illustration fans know it's there. They do pretty good job with this stuff. It's funny, moving on from that piece, again, like Lot 54, Irv Novick, Zip Comics, Steel Sterling, again, very neat, the Nazis in Paris and whatnot. But again, not a name, not exactly a huge name, not exactly a character, and again, this is where it'll be curious to see what the appetite is for some of this lesser Golden Age stuff. If that makes
Novick
sense.
also, better known for drawing Batman. So I think
yes, later on, but I'm just saying in terms of the Golden Age stuff. Again,
sure.
Fun piece. It's got everything you'd want on it, whatever, Nazi werewolf in France and a hero, but just not necessarily what anyone's necessarily looking for. Again,
the characters are the artists.
Yes,
per se,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
There can't be more than a handful of Zip Comics pages out there, but nobody remembers who Steel Sterling is. So,
Lot
unless
55.
That.
Lot 55, gorgeous Jerry Ordway piece. This is from All-Star Squadron,
pinup.
recreating one of the key Golden Age images, but Jerry Ordway, just a super artist. Gorgeous piece, just absolutely gorgeous piece. And then Lot 56 was kind of interesting. It's an Ordway piece paired up with a Jerry Robinson Joker. Both from the early, looks like from the early 80s. Well, I guess the Batman piece is from the movie, so that would be a touch later. But great to see.
That's why it looks so interesting.
Great to see a kind of what was it? 1989? Maybe it's 89. Great to see a Joker. I have a nice I think Batman and Joker by Jerry Robinson, sort of a sketch, but he was definitely he's definitely older, so they're definitely a little rougher, a little cruder. He was still super mentally sharp. Just I think his hands had slipped a bit.
Well, he would do the same poses, right? He this one at least is different from the poses we've seen. So.
Got to go over to Jerry Robinson's house and see his collection, which was amazing. And I got him to sign my Batman from the 30s to the 70s hardcover, which was my favorite book as a kid. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
This is another Jerry Ordway piece. This is from the 90s version of The Powers of Shazam, as DC ultimately bought Captain Marvel, Shazam, and then kind of in the 70s, I guess, and then started adding him in.
They licensed him in the 70s, and then they bought him full out. In 1991, I think.
Gotcha. And then, look, I don't know how to say this. They've done multiple comics. There's something about the Captain Marvel character, or I guess they don't even call him Marvel anymore. Now he's Shazam, and he's just called the Captain. They've eliminated the word Marvel more so from it all.
Well, that trademark, Marvel's got that trademark, so obviously, you couldn't.
So I guess I have to call him the Captain. So, It's interesting. The books. I mean, there have been some wonderful runs, including this run that Jerry Ordway did. That are really gorgeous. I don't know. I'm not sure they ever quite do the business DC wants them to do, but they had that first successful movie. I don't think the second one was as successful. But anyway, I don't know where any of this goes.
If you go back to the 40s, I mean, Captain Marvel, Shazam was outselling Superman at various points in the 40s. So that's how popular he was back then.
But I would argue this Ordway piece, Lot 57, is gorgeous and has everything you'd want on it.
It's a
the Captain, piece. Mary Marvel, the Wizard, and it has the wall, with how you get to Shazam, which is my favorite part of it all. The names and the
Rock of Eternity,
yeah, exactly,
all that stuff.
Yeah, the gods, yeah.
Lot 58, a really nice 1941 Golden Age Green Arrow piece, and you've got Speedy, and they're in the Arrow car. Just a like a super great page. George Papp. Again, be very curious to see. There's not a lot of these out there. If you want one, here it is.
Creator of the character. This is his second appearance, the second Golden Age appearance of Green Arrow. Is this issue? So.
And there's a nice drawing of him on the next lot too. 59.
Yeah, that's a later. I think that's a later piece. It looks later to me. Yeah,
41.
I know it says that in the corner, but I don't know.
You don't think it was done in 41?
Well, it says concept.
Final
it
approval
says
concepts. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know. It just looks
first
so.
appearance, people look at lot number 59.
It's so white looking. Yeah.
Here.
No, it's just so white looking. I guess I thought it was just a later sketch, but I stand corrected. Lot 60 is again a gorgeous Justice Society piece.
Yeah.
You got Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Golden Age Flash there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen this cover. Arthur Petty, not a name I know. Erwin Hansen, I guess I do know. All-Star Comics 49. Just amazing that this survived. I don't know. That's what I.
And this would be a good example of what you were talking about earlier, Dave, about the modern stuff with the Ordway one and the Buckler ones. They're all. This is like the antecedent, right?
Yeah, this is what they're trying to capture here. But just gorgeous, and just to see an actual all-star cover is just wild.
This is like a museum piece, especially with that old style Wonder Woman, and I love that. I always liked Golden Age Green Lantern myself. But obviously, pages are tough to come by.
Yeah.
Next one is a little bit of a movie prop as well. This is by Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti. Hey guys, this is White Hating Coon #1. This is one of the fake comics from Inside Chasing Amy. And that I think this is Hooper X's character. He's the guy that is screaming at everybody constantly, but his name is Hooper X because then they do the Jaws thing, I think, or maybe that I get.
It's been so long since I've seen this movie.
He's Hooper, but I think he also appears. Maybe he also appears in Mallrats, and then you have Quint, and that's how you get Quint and Hooper, and they do the Jaws thing about injuries they had while having sex. Anyway, this is from In Chasing Amy. This is one of the fake comic covers that you actually see in the movie. So that's pretty neat, drawn by Joe and Jimmy. Very, very cool.
Finger cuffs.
Yes. A nice crossover. Lot 62, Mac Rayboy, who we're going to see more of later. This is Dr. Voodoo, early Golden Age character in the jungle. Rayboy, very famous for his Captain Marvel Jr. covers, which I believe
and Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's true. Also, and Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
but
20 years of Flash Gordon strips.
Yeah. We now have Lot 63. This is sort of, again, one of the real showstoppers. Master Comics 22. This is Captain Marvel Jr., with Bullet Man, and the guy to the back that they're fighting is Captain Nazi, who I believe is partially responsible, if my memory serves, for Captain Marvel Jr.'s origin, right? He throws like him and his father into the ocean or something and drowns them, and then Captain Marvel Jr. and then Shazam saves him and say my name, and then he's like limps and has he's on a crutch, and then he becomes Captain Marvel Jr.
It's Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman,
right?
yes, exactly.
He's got crutches. Yes, he's the disabled one. Yeah. Well, in his human form.
But just fabulous, just fabulous. And
great
then
pulpy layout, it's you got.
And I know the Nazi has his back to us, but like it's sort of the combination of like basically taking the Nazis or the Japanese, basically the American enemies, and then kind of gluing them together with kind of like the classic mad scientist tropes and whatnot. And you kind of get all of that very pulpy Golden Age, as Kelvin just said, in this cover. Really, really fabulous. And as good as this one is, probably one of the most famous covers in the history of comics. And again, this will transcend the Golden Age. This will transcend the Captain Marvel of it all. This is Mac Rayboy, Master Comics 27, Captain Marvel Jr. This is when they write articles about Golden Age comics, it is rare you don't see a photo of this comic. It is one of the
famous V for Victory.
V for Victory, yes, exactly. And so again, this transcends Golden Age. Well, I guess not transcends Golden Age, but I think this transcends Captain Marvel. You don't have to like Captain Marvel Jr. or Shazam or any of the Marvel folks.
This is like Americana.
Yes.
War comics, the war effort, all of those things, the trends in comics in general, and some of what makes Golden Age comics great, like all that war stuff that they really.
And Roy was a truly skilled illustrator. He's empirically, forget about comics. He's a great artist. I mean, the other thing that we should mention is that, like, I don't know a single other person with one McRoy Master Comics cover, and now we're on our second one in this catalog.
We're on second Master Comics, plus we had that Dr. Voodoo piece, plus I think there's a sketch piece or two. So I mean, again, this was the stuff Keif was like searching for, and was able to find it without. I don't want to sound like an asshole here. I don't think there was a huge amount of competition when he was putting this collection together. You know what I mean? So again, I do think, again, if you are a comic, I think there's going to be a lot of action from, comic people on top of just the art people. Who knows? Maybe this is the kind of art piece that brings a comic person into the art world and then they never leave. But boy, I
just wanted to underscore the rarity. Yeah. The rarity of this stuff is
the rarity and the specialness. I mean, this is. I don't know. Is this your favorite piece in the entire collection? I mean, if you had gun to head?
This is definitely the most to me, like a historical, it hits all of the notes. Like I said, and part of it is just that he is a really good illustrator, so it's well drawn. I mean, on the level to me of like the Lou Fine piece, this is a really well drawn and well composed cover. This should be the best thing, but it's not going to be. This should be the one.
This should be the biggest number. I don't think it will be. It's not the thing I'm going to bid on, but I do think it's the best piece in the auction. Wherever, take of that what you will, but I do think it's pretty incredible. And then we get to the third one, just in case you thought 2 was not enough. Master Comics 38. That's a fabulous Japanese warship that he's sort of tearing up open, basically. Really
it's an aircraft
carrier. Really just gorgeous art and just a really interesting idea. Tearing the aircraft carrier with the plane sort of falling into the ocean, but you still get to see that sort of Japanese rising sun and just the smile on his face. Captain Marvel Jr., America's new secret weapon. And again, just the blacks on it. I mean, I think look at the blacks. Look at the inking on all 3 covers. This one is a sort of a more open piece, but just the shadowing on the ship itself. Obviously, the smoke of the V for Victory one, sort of the sense of the battle having been over, and then of course just again the pulpiness of the dungeon of the mad scientist. Just a real lesson in art there. I
certainly would love to own one of these. I don't think I'm going to, but I do think. I mean, I like this one too. As an image, it's quite striking, and
I think, Kelvin, I think you got to make your push for the first one. I think the first one is the one where people are keeping their powder dry to get the second one, and then when they don't win the second one, the third one's going to go even crazier. So I think you got to try.
The first one is definitely the one there's an opportunity to perhaps get a little bit of a discount, but I think
I don't think it's going to be a big discount. I just think it's possible. I think it's possible. Yeah, I think it's possible. So something to think about. And then you mentioned Flash Gordon, and there's Lot 66, one of his Flash Gordons.
And 67.
Yep. And beautiful work. Look, if I was going to get a Flash Gordon, I think you kind of I'd rather have, what's his name?
Raymond.
Yes. The creator. But certainly lovely pieces. And then speaking of Jerry Robinson, Lot 68, we get a Green Hornet cover.
Yeah, gorgeous, yeah.
Looks like saboteurs. It looks like of some sort of the subway system in New York, or maybe a war. Look, it's a train carrying planes, so it's being sabotaged. Very cool to see a Jerry Robinson piece. And now we've got another Jerry Robinson Joker piece in color, something very rare, something he didn't do a lot of later on. He kind of simplified to the black and white. Batman full figure. Later on, he was really only doing, heads and whatnot. And then this is one of the pieces we mentioned early on, again, because Keif loved Batman. This is a just great Marshall Rogers
71.
DC Special Series 15 Batman Spectacular cover. I don't know the issue, but God, it's great, and it's got all that sort of the smoke with the I don't know, the white ink or the white out, whatever he's using there.
Which is issue 15, DC Special Series 15. That's
Yeah.
that's a good one. And Rogers' artwork is obviously hard to come by too. That's not something you see.
Yeah,
He
that
passed away young also.
That prime period of Batman, where he was those stories in the DC main stories, where they brought back Hugo Strange and introduced Silver St. Cloud and all that stuff. The very
Englehart, right? Is that right?
Yep, Steve Englehart, the writer. This is the very famous The Joker Fish cover that I have in my collection by Marshall Rogers. That's sort of the poisoning story that kind of is in the first Batman movie, the Michael Keaton Batman movie, comes out of that run. That run is very influential, I think, on Sam Hamm, the writer, but then also on Tim Burton at the time. So that Marshall Rogers run. Again, I wasn't.
And Kelly Jones, modern Batman artist, hugely influenced by Marshall Rogers.
Yeah, even though they're very, very different. Yeah, really nice. This is something lot 72. This is from
Alex Ross.
Yeah, Alex Ross. This is Marvels. This is
another Marvels piece, Dave, for you.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big deal, right?
Doing
Alex Ross.
Alex Ross doing these Golden Age characters. But you get a Captain America in there, which is, of course, very, very, very important. So that'll
the Human
be fun.
Torch and Toro, so this is sort of like
and Submariner too. So you get the Submariner. Yeah. So a really, really nice piece, and obviously people still craving Alex Ross stuff who didn't get it the first time. Lot 73, a nice Peanuts.
I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah, just a nice Lucy and Linus. Lot 74, an interesting Golden Age Dr. Fate piece. Again, amazing that it survived. And again, I don't want to say this is random stuff in his collection, but Lot 75, an early Barry Smith, but really before he's Barry Windsor
before
Smith.
His style. Yeah.
But
it's
you
the
can
house
see
style
it.
version.
But look at the
him,
figures.
Right?
Look at the figures. I mean, you can see it a little. You can see like the way he's doing the muscles and stuff.
The musculature, right?
Yep, exactly.
But much more like the Kirby style face and the blockiness of the hands and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I mean, it's like that McFarlane, the non-Batman.
Yeah,
piece.
you see
he's doing their style.
But you see the guy that he's going to become. This is a 2-page sequence. You can see the second page. Yeah.
Shown his own voice yet.
John K. Snyder, Green Lantern piece. I don't know that. Blackest Night storyline. John K. Snyder, very fun artist who did Dr. Midnight. Dr. Midnight, a modern Dr. Midnight storyline. Dick Sprang, one of the great other
Best
Batman artists. Nice just piece he did for
Best
him.
inker of any of the Bob Kane ghosts. He was very distinct. You could always tell if Dick Sprang was doing the art. So
Sprang,
I loved his art.
when you think of Sprang, you think of the Batcave filled with the giant dinosaur and
the coin,
right,
the penny.
Right.
Yeah, and the big
the
coin.
Two-Face. His version of Two-Face is very distinctive. Yeah, he was a great, and he was doing commissions and things for fans until the end too. So that guy could draw.
The back end is a lot more, sketches, but there are individual pages, like jump to lot 83. This is an unpublished Green Lantern story from the 40s, by Alex Toth, Cavalcade 27, that I can only assume was put into the garbage, was not cut up, or someone took it and it found its way to Keif. And again, Keif was a protector of these things, which is kind of nice, that, he cared at a time when a lot of people didn't. Which I think is
let's
kind
move
of
back
cool.
to 80 real quick.
Oh, sure. Did I skip something?
It's a movie props and movie art. So 1980 is Drew Struzan, doing Batman for a series of posters where he did superheroes. I think Batman, Wonder Woman.
I think he did a Superman and a Wonder
Superman.
Woman. I think that they did to sort of market stuff, I guess. Yeah, kind of neat.
It's very funny. I mean, I would never have guessed that this was Struzan unless you told me it was, but there you go.
It's definitely a different look, although I guess maybe this is the prelim, so I guess he's just working out the pose.
Yeah, and it's 77, so his
it's
style
pretty close. It's pretty. I mean, I've seen the poster on eBay. And Dave, you and I we saw these in person because. Yes, it was absolutely the hottest poster ever. But Dave and I saw these three because remember Tom Horvitz uncovered the posters. So we
I completely forgot about that. That's right, Tom found those. I mean, I'm kind of blasting through this next area. There's not really much else. I mean, again, interesting sketch pieces and whatnot, fanzine art, different things. Again,
Wally-Wood, Dynamo,
Wally-Wood,
and Daredevil on
that's a
on
nice
number
Wally-Wood.
88.
Yeah. lot 88.
Wrights in sketch, or is that an actual illustration there for lot 89?
Yeah, it says illustration. I mean, it feels more like a prelim given what you're used to from Wrightson. It's definitely his style, but it's and signature and all that. It's very cool. It's like it's sort of like a Frazetta kind of thing with the naked girl riding the lion with the snake.
Yeah, it's very, very Frazetta.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Now, Ryan, is anything in here? I mean, I know obviously you like McFarlane. Like, would that page with the gun, is that something you care about?
That's very cool. I mean, nothing I'm actually bidding on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was just curious.
For sure, like in a world where nothing was an object or whatever, that Batman cover would be such a great,
No, I think we can agree. I think everyone would like to own that Batman cover. I'm just thinking,
but that's the most me.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the most me of this collection. Like, I'm fascinated in the Golden Age from a historical perspective, its significance. I love listening to you guys talk about it, and Kelvin and I have talked about the Golden Age quite a bit, just again over whiskey. But so I'm fascinated in the history of all of it, but I don't. It's not. It's just there's no grounding for it even in my childhood.
Yeah.
Comics education. I didn't read that
and
stuff.
Makes complete sense.
I was sort of tangentially aware of it because my dad, read a bit of it, but even the comics that he read were more Silver Age. Like he was aware of them because they were sort of the back issues in his, in his day. And because they would get dragged back into the light on occasion because they would resurrect the sort of old versions of those characters. But no, it's just, I mean, I love the art. I mean, my favorite piece of art in the book is that what was it? The red what was the character? The red
guy, bee. That one, the Heritage Comics one,
the fine cover,
wrestling the swordfish or whatever. It's
sure.
That's just a beautiful piece of art.
It's funny for me. I mean, I appreciate the F out of that Lou Fine piece. It's not something I probably am going to have in my collection. I would love to have some Golden Age, but I want the Golden Age that I am, I guess, ultimately more familiar with. I know that Lou Fine cover. I've seen it. I know it exists, but ultimately I'm going to want a Batman piece, or again, I know the Shazam, the Captain Marvel Jr. stuff, again, because I had this in my formative comic reading years. I had that, Shazam from the 30s to the 70s book or whatever it was, or from the 40s to the 70s. And because in that, I think they reprinted one of those Mac Ray Boys they had like in the middle, they had like, I don't know, 10 color pages. And so in the middle of that book, I think they printed one of those in color. So that is seared into my youthful mind. And again, it's not anything I ever went to get, but I at least I can appreciate all the Golden Age stuff, but the stuff I guess I want is the stuff I have a little bit more of the nostalgia collection to, which is ultimately Batman, Captain Marvel Jr., I guess, a little bit for me. Maybe one of the early Justice Society pieces, just because I know those characters, but I'm not sure I'm as familiar with any of those images. But I do like that. Kelvin, where's your brain?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Plastic Man. The
Plastic Man is the one that I probably should be looking
comics?
at. The Gill Fox.
That's a great piece of art. I love like all the
really
little heads, the little cameo heads, and
That's a very sort of old Golden Age like layout for cover. I also the one thing that I don't have
feels like
I'm
EC Comics a little bit.
Have is any interior pages from the Wiz Comics Golden Age era for Captain Marvel. Because I always wanted a page with a transformation. I wanted a page
where he said Shazam. Yeah.
He's doing,
and then it's Billy Batson, and then that's the one thing that I'm sort of missing. And I feel like Keif may have had this stuff before in the many lists of quasi for sale stuff that he has sent us over the years, but not one in this auction, obviously. But
well, I do think this is everything. So maybe he did let stuff go or over,
maybe some stuff actually did. So
yeah.
somebody, yeah. But no, I think that Police Comics is one of the most realistic, something that I could actually be in my wheelhouse, but also like in my budget ranges. I'm not battling with anybody over a McFarlane cover or any of that stuff.
Or a museum for Shazam,
yeah. It's lucky for me that I do have some affinity to these characters that aren't active being published, because that's sort of, I think, when you stop publishing this, it gets lost in the public consciousness. You don't have that long memory, if you will, for those characters. But that's great. Obviously, I'll follow them all. The V for Victory, the Lou Fine. I think those are all really stand out. Like I said, like museum pieces. This is something that you could have on the wall and be pretty great.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Ryan, let's jump to this a little bit without like trying to get people to what's the word, without getting people to sort of try and
Market
either
manipulate
outbid
me.
you or like ruin your life or contact you like, will you trade me the Kirk away suit for this thing you want or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What what are you looking for? What are you, like just to bring it home, a little bit of comic art talk in general.
Yeah,
What do
look,
you
my list remains very narrow. I collected comics really heavily from like 1980, 88, 89 until like 1993 or 1994. It was like that. It was a very white hot period for me, which, it doesn't seem like many years, but looking back, I mean, that was such a huge chunk of my childhood. It felt like it was, a decade and a half or 20 years. I mean, it really was the equivalent of, because it was at that point, probably, more than a third of my life. For me, it's, varies. The things that I don't have, it would be Barry Windsor Smith, Weapon X, Rob Liefeld, New Mutants from the sort of cable run from 87 to 100. These are all interior pages. I've sort of given up the ghost of getting covers.
You'd love to just get a great example, a great page.
Correct. A great page. Yeah, an interior page. McFarlane's Spider-Man, I would say the adjectiveless Spider-Man, probably because that was the book that I read so heavily, as a kid. I definitely went back and did the Amazings, but for me, it was that adjectiveless Spider-Man when it really, the character really took on that kind of McFarlane spin to it.
Well, at that point, he obviously, that book is what McFarlane wanted it to be. 100%.
Yeah. And it's incredible. And it's, those images are just seared in my brain. Frank Miller, Wolverine limited series, interior, definitely from one of the four, still remains my favorite comic book story of all time. It's one I reread every couple of years. I think it's the perfect use of the format and comic story. And I just love the origin and the Japan thing and all that. Jim Lee X-Men page from the sort of early, kind of adjectiveless X-Men run, something in from there with Wolverine, and that kind,
preferably
like
Wolverine in costume. Yes,
Wolverine in costume. Yeah, fighting. Wolverine versus Omega Red. Let's make it very specific. That would be really exciting to me. Or even Sabretooth. I would say one of those two. Maybe a McFarlane Hulk. I really liked his run in that.
I think those Hulk pages are
340.
gorgeous.
I'm sure you'd like a page from 340, right? That would be great.
Yeah. The Wolverine Hulk would be the sort of dream in there. I'm a big Wolverine guy.
We'll all take that one.
But that's sort of the lit. I mean, I don't see it growing much.
Turtles.
Much
beyond.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles, definitely, like Eastman and Laird. Something from that sort of early mid '80s run. Nothing specific in there, but like the Turtles fighting, doing ninja stuff would be really, really great. That's kind of it. It's always going to be a small target just because of where I am, and certainly John Byrne, Chris Claremont X-Men page would be great, because I went back and bought a bunch of those back issues. Days of Future Past was probably, next to the Wolverine limited series, my favorite comic story of all time, that I saved money for and went back and acquired and found the perfect the perfect specimen, the copy, and I kept it nice in the plastic and all that. And I love that stuff. But that's like I said, that's sort of the list. I've been lucky enough to tick a bunch of things off the list over the first couple of years of exploring this, just opportunities that sprung up. But that's where I am.
I mean, the stuff you're naming, again, the good news and the bad news is it's all hot. It's all what people are looking for as well. But there's also not churn, but there is like stuff is constantly sort of showing up.
The nice thing about this versus movie props, just coming at this as a movie props collector, is like, I don't. For me, probably Frank Miller Wolverine limited series is the most specific I get about anything, because that was just 4 issues and there are only so many pages that haven't been crayoned in.
It is still 4 issues.
4 issues,
which is a bunch of
and
issues.
you want him fighting and you want the claws out.
But he's on a lot of them. He's obviously whatever. So even that.
The nice thing about comics is that as long as your interest remains broad like that, there are so many opportunities to get things, because like, yeah, there's better pages than others, but because it's like I don't need that cover to that issue. I've never been like that.
Right. You're not setting out for, like, basically, for lack of a better word, the lightsaber of that run. You're sort of kind of going, I'd like a page. Yeah.
As a Men in Black fan, when the freaking like hero neuralizer comes up and you're just like,
you're screwed.
It's the one thing. Like,
as opposed
just
to
drop everything.
There were 22 pages of neuralizer.
Right. The
yes.
X-Men,
right.
Men in Black was a 10-year run, and you know, it had good years and bad years and whatever, and that sort of thing. So I very much enjoy the more commodity nature of comic art, or there's just the churn of it, the fact that like there are a ton of examples, and really a couple of times a year there is a McFarlane Spider-Man that comes along. Might not be the one that I want or the right time or whatever.
I would argue at this point almost every auction has a couple of McFarlane Spidey pages. It may not be what you're looking for, but there's at least one or two or a couple of McFarlane pages in practically every Heritage auction.
No, they're not rare. They're just a matter of you waiting to see which one meets your standard, you know, which will come, you know, not that long. So, you know.
Well, we've reached the supersized double issue, paste up, double. What do they call it? What's they call it?
80-page giant.
Yeah, that's right. The giant size Damon Ryan X-Men. We should probably sign off, but this was a fantastic discussion. Thank you guys. My comics education continues to grow. Just I love listening to you guys chat about it, and just your deep knowledge of these artists and the art and the fun stories that you tell. And yeah, it's great fun for me. And I know from the emails that come into the podcast, there's a lot of desire for us to revisit this topic.
I think we definitely
often.
have. I think we have people. I mean, again, some of it's maybe a little bit of just the pop culture in general. We definitely have prop collectors that are comic art fans, or comic art fans that have started dipping into prop collecting and therefore are listening to the show, but also are definitely comic art fans and certainly like an update from time to time. So thank you, Kelvin, for joining.
Well, thanks for having me
in.
on, guys. This is a lot of fun.
Kelvin, where can people find you?
Where can people find me? Just I have an Instagram account and a Facebook account,
but say what it is. Say your Instagram.
Yes, it's at Batmao. At Batmao. It's at Batmao and Batmao on Facebook. Although you can just look up my name, Kelvin Mao, on Facebook as well. So
perfect.
I'm trying to be like Ryan and be a little bit less high profile.
And you have a new documentary in the works. Are you allowed to say what you're working on?
Yes. I'm working with Ryan on a documentary about Japanese whiskey, the history of Japanese whiskey, and how it got to be the phenomenon it is today. And it is called Distilled to Perfection: The Spirit of Japanese Whiskey. In post, almost done, soon done, trying to be done.
I thought it was called Distilled to Perfection: How to Write Your Whiskey Off by Making a Documentary About It. No, you changed the title.
That's the subtitle. That's underneath. In parentheses, a very big parentheses. But yes, Ryan and I are both
know anything
fans,
about
obviously, as everyone knows. But I'm fascinated by the history of things, and I approach it more or less the same way we approach the other collecting disciplines. So.
When you take heavy losses making a Japanese whiskey documentary, you can offset your whiskey gains. The
losses are both my gains, right? Because the losses are going into my belly.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Has there ever been a whiskey gain? I'm not sure there's ever been one.
Every day you spend with whiskey is a gain.
Just constantly losing inventory.
Well, we have casks. We have casks, and they casks are aging and they keep going up in value, right, Ryan?
That's right.
There's that.
Assuming when the day comes, there's someone there. Yeah.
Well, it's assuming and you sell anything, right? That's the problem. None of this
is so delicious. We should just drink it all. On that fine note, check out also This Ends Tonight. Thank you, everybody. Check out all of our rate us. Check out our YouTube videos. Our YouTube channel. Check out us on social media at Props Podcast, and write us at
dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.